Chosen one, what I'm about to reveal will completely change the course of your life. If you're reading these words now, it's not by chance. A greater divine force has guided your steps here because the moment of your total transformation has come. The spiritual barriers that have for so long limited your progress, prevented your prosperity, and blocked your blessings are about to crumble before your eyes. Get ready, because scarcity is no longer part of your story. From this exact moment, abundance will flood every area of your life like a powerful and irresistible wave. God has heard each of your prayers, felt every tear you shed in silence. The divine manifestation has already begun to operate in the spiritual realm and is now materializing in your physical world. The impossible will become possible. What seemed distant is within your reach. Doors that were closed will open one after another. Your unwavering faith will be rewarded in ways you never imagined. The barriers are crumbling right now, and nothing and no one can prevent the outpouring of blessings that is coming upon you. This is the decisive moment, the turning point you've waited for your entire life. Stay until the end of this message, as each word carries a divine frequency that will activate your transformation. From this moment on, you will see manifesting before your eyes the power that has always been in your favor, but was blocked by invisible barriers that now dissolve like fog in the sun. Before we continue, I ask for 3 simple actions. Subscribe to this channel, leave your like to amplify this divine message, and comment the word freedom to declare that you are ready to see the barriers fall. Let's begin this journey of manifestation and prosperity. Chosen one, the moment you've been waiting for has finally arrived. The invisible walls that surrounded you inside and out are crumbling at this very moment. Can you feel this change? Can you sense how the air around you seems lighter, how your breathing flows more easily? This is not a coincidence. It's the beginning of the great transformation that God has prepared for you. For years, you felt as if something invisible was blocking your path. You would take one step forward, and it seemed like unknown forces pulled you 2 steps back. You worked hard, planted seeds of prosperity, but the harvest always seemed distant. That was yesterday's reality. It is no longer your reality today. The spiritual barriers that prevented your advancement are being broken now, disintegrating like walls hit by a divine earthquake. Each brick of limitation, each stone of doubt, each structure of fear is crumbling before your eyes. Divine power is acting with full force in your life, removing obstacles that seemed insurmountable. Understand that these barriers were not placed by chance. They served a purpose: to strengthen your faith, temper your spirit, prepare you for the moment of abundance that begins now. You were forged in the furnace of difficulties so that you could appreciate and manage the blessings that are coming your way. The fall of these walls is not a gradual process. It's a sudden demolition, an explosion of divine grace that transforms your spiritual landscape in a matter of moments. Where there were once blockages, now there are open paths. Where there were limitations, now there is unlimited freedom to prosper. This transformation is so powerful that you will physically feel the change in your body, in your mind, and in your spirit. Visualize these walls falling. See with the eyes of your faith the impeding structures collapsing and turning to dust. Each time you breathe deeply, another barrier is removed from your life. Each beat of your heart announces the fall of another obstacle that limited your prosperity. The power operating in your life at this moment is irresistible, non-negotiable, and irreversible. Nothing and no one can prevent the manifestation that has already been decreed in your favor. The blessing portals that were sealed now open completely, allowing a continuous and abundant flow of prosperity, health, peace, and achievements. This fall of walls is not just metaphorical. It's real, and you will feel its effects immediately. Businesses that were stuck will begin to flow with surprising ease. Relationships that seemed frozen warm up with new energy. Financial resources that seemed scarce begin to multiply in ways that defy human logic. The spiritual barriers that kept your mind trapped in limiting patterns of thought are also being demolished. That inner voice that always said, "This is impossible, you don't deserve it, this will never work," is being permanently silenced. In its place, a new consciousness arises, aligned with divine abundance, tuned to frequencies of infinite prosperity. Recognize that this is not a temporary process. The fall of these walls marks the beginning of a new era in your life, an era where resistance gives way to flow, where scarcity is replaced by abundance, where struggle gives way to spontaneous manifestation. This is a permanent change, a divine realignment that fundamentally alters the trajectory of your destiny. The walls don't just fall around you, but also within you. The barriers you yourself erected out of fear, from painful past experiences, from deep insecurities, all of them are being disintegrated by the power of divine grace. Your heart is being freed to receive everything you have always deserved, but couldn't accept. People around you will notice the change. They will perceive something different in your energy, in your gaze, in your posture. Some will be surprised by your sudden prosperity. Others will question what has changed. You will know exactly what happened. The walls fell, the barriers crumbled, and the divine flow of abundance can finally run freely in your direction. The fall of these walls also marks the end of a learning cycle and the beginning of a harvest cycle. Everything you planted during the years of resistance, every seed of faith thrown into barren soil, every prayer uttered in moments of hopelessness, all of this now sprouts with renewed strength, bringing abundant fruits that will exceed your most optimistic expectations. You are on the threshold of a divine revelation that will completely transform your spiritual understanding. Everything you didn't understand, all the silent resistances that operated in the shadows, all the invisible blockages that prevented your prosperity, are being brought to light at this exact moment. God is revealing to resolve, and nothing, absolutely nothing, will resist his action. For years, you've felt that something was working against you, but you couldn't identify exactly what. It was like fighting an invisible enemy, trying to move forward against a current you couldn't see. You wondered why, despite all your efforts, certain areas of your life seemed to remain stagnant. Now the veil is being lifted. Divine power is illuminating every dark corner, every shadowed space of your existence. The forces that operated in darkness are being exposed to the light of truth, and in the presence of this powerful light, they simply dissolve. What was hidden can no longer hide. What was covered can no longer camouflage itself. This revelation is not just for your knowledge, it is for your complete liberation. By exposing what was hidden, God not only shows the problem, but simultaneously eliminates it. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. The moment you see what was there, the darkness disappears. There is no gradual process, no waiting. The exposure and resolution happen in the same divine moment. You will begin to perceive sudden insights and understandings about situations that previously seemed confusing. Connections will be made in your mind, revealing patterns that were silently operating against your prosperity. People, circumstances, habits that subtly drained your energy and blocked your blessings. Everything will be exposed with crystal clarity. This divine revelation is an act of profound love. God is showing you what was blocking your path so that you never have to face these same obstacles again. This exposure doesn't come to cause fear or anxiety, but to bring relief and liberation. It's like a doctor who finally diagnoses a condition that caused unexplained pain. The diagnosis is the first step to complete healing. The silent resistances that operated in your spiritual life are being not only exposed, but completely dismantled. That feeling that your prayers hit an invisible ceiling, that impression that your seeds of faith fell on sterile ground. All of this is being revealed and resolved simultaneously. The channels of blessing are being unblocked at all levels. Notice that this exposure also happens within you. limiting beliefs that you didn't even know you carried, deep fears that influenced your decisions without you realizing, self-destructive thought patterns that sabotaged your prosperity. Everything is being brought to consciousness and transformed by the power of divine light. This is a moment of profound spiritual honesty. Seeing what was hidden, you may initially feel surprise or even discomfort. Allow yourself to feel these emotions as they are part of the healing process. The truth, however challenging it may be at first, always liberates. And this liberation is happening now, in real time, as these words resonate in your spirit. God is also revealing hidden purposes that have always been reserved for you, but that couldn't manifest while the barriers were present. Unexplored talents, invisible opportunities, divine connections that were waiting for the right moment. All of this is being brought to light simultaneously. The exposure is not only of the negative that limited, but also of the positive that waits for you. You will notice in the coming days how situations that seemed incomprehensible now make perfect sense. Doors that closed in the past weren't rejections. They were divine protections. People who left your life weren't losses. They were necessary removals to make room for what truly belongs to your destiny. God is revealing the purpose behind every experience. What was operating in the shadows completely loses its power when exposed to light. That feeling of being stuck in an endless cycle of attempts without success, that sensation of taking 2 steps forward and 3 back, all of this is being not only revealed, but completely neutralized by the power of divine exposure. The revelation happening now in your life is unprecedented. Never before have you experienced such clarity, such understanding of the spiritual forces that influence your reality. This divine exposure marks the beginning of a new phase of spiritual consciousness, where you not only receive blessings, but fully understand the divine mechanisms that bring them to you. Chosen one, accept this moment of divine exposure with gratitude. What was hidden is being revealed to never hide again. What operated in the shadows is being brought to light to never again have influence over your life. God is exposing to resolve definitively, permanently, irrevocably. This is the moment of your liberation through divine revelation. Nothing will remain hidden. Nothing will resist the transforming power of light. Prepare yourself for a profound transformation in the narrative of your life. The spiritual struggles you faced in silence, those battles that no one saw, those moments of bent knees in prayer when everyone was asleep, all of this is being converted into something powerful. What was struggle will now be testimony. You will tell what you overcame. You will show what you surpassed. For how long have you carried invisible burdens? For how long have you fought spiritual wars that left your body exhausted and your mind tired? Those sleepless nights, those moments of deep doubt, those tears shed away from the gaze of others. All of this had a greater divine purpose than you could imagine at the moment of pain. At this exact moment, a divine transformation is occurring. Each battle you fought is being converted into a victory story. Each obstacle you faced is transforming into a springboard for your elevation. What were once painful scars now become medals of honor that you will display with pride and gratitude. This divine transmutation is not gradual. It is instantaneous and complete. Like water that turned into wine, your struggles are being converted into testimonies of power at the exact moment these words reach your spirit. The energy of defeat is being completely replaced by the frequency of victory in every cell of your being. You will be surprised by how quickly people will begin to approach you to hear your story. Those who previously paid no attention to your process will now be thirsty to understand how you overcame what seemed insurmountable. Your testimony will have a magnetic power, attracting people who desperately need the hope that your story carries. What was once shame will now be holy pride. Those situations you tried to hide, those failures you wanted to erase from memory, those moments of weakness you considered unconfessable, All of this will be rewritten as essential chapters of your journey of overcoming. Nothing was wasted. Each tear was counted and transformed into a pearl. The transition from struggle to testimony brings with it a new spiritual authority. You will speak not as one who theorizes about overcoming, but as one who lived every second of the process and emerged transformed. Your words will carry a spiritual weight that is only granted to those who have crossed the valley and reached the other side with intact faith. Prepare to use words that you could never pronounce before. I won. I overcame. I conquered. I crossed through. The vocabulary of defeat is being replaced by the lexicon of victory. And each time you declare your overcoming, the power of that truth will multiply, creating waves of transformation that will reach people you never imagined you could influence. Your challenges had purpose. That devastating financial situation, that disease that seemed to have no cure, that relationship that caused deep pain, that rejection that hurt your soul, everything was being molded to become your most powerful testimony. God did not allow these struggles to destroy you, but to build a story that would be a beacon for many. What will surprise you most is the speed with which the transformation from struggle to testimony will happen. One day, you will still be drying tears. The next day, you will be inspiring multitudes. In 1 week, you will still be questioning the reason for the trial. In the next, you will be explaining with absolute clarity the divine purpose behind each difficult moment. This transformation does not erase your past pain. It completely redefines it. Pain doesn't disappear. It is converted into purpose. Suffering is not denied. It is elevated to a greater dimension of understanding. Your tears are not forgotten. They are transformed into anointing oil that will heal similar wounds in other hearts. You will notice that, as you share your testimony, a renewing energy will fill your being. Each time you narrate how you overcame the impossible, a new layer of healing will be established in your soul. Your testimony will not only transform the lives of those who hear, it will continue to transform your own life each time it is shared. The spiritual struggles you faced in silence are turning into victory stories that will be proclaimed from the rooftops. What you endured in darkness will be celebrated in light. What you faced in solitude will be witnessed by multitudes. This is divine alchemy in action, turning lead into gold, converting pain into purpose, transmuting struggle into glorious testimony. Chosen one, a divine intervention is happening at this exact moment in your life. The spiritual interference that blocked your paths, that blocked your advances, that distorted your blessings, is being completely cancelled. Heaven has decreed, no hidden force will have more influence over your destiny. This is an irrevocable truth that is being established now in the spiritual realm. For how long have you felt like you were rowing against the tide, as if an invisible force was constantly working to undo your progress? You planted, but the harvest was intercepted. You advanced, but there was always an inexplicable setback. You prayed, but the answers seemed to be diverted before reaching you. These were clear signs of the interference that operated against your divine destiny. This interference wasn't your imagination. It was real, potent, and systematic. It acted like a field of spiritual static, distorting the blessings that were destined for you, creating subtle misalignments that compromised your results, generating mental confusion that prevented clear decisions. It was like a virus in the spiritual system of your life, subtly corrupting processes that should flow naturally. But now, a divine reprogramming is occurring. Each line of spiritual code that was corrupted is being rewritten. Each signal that was distorted is being recalibrated. Each frequency that was interfered with is being purified. The operating system of your spiritual life is being restored to its original configuration, the one that was designed by the Creator even before your birth. The cancellation of these interferences is not gradual. It is immediate and complete. Like when a technician removes an interference device and instantly the signal becomes crystal clear, the annulment of these opposing forces produces an instant clarity in your spirit. You will feel this change as a sudden sensation of lightness, as if an invisible weight had been removed from your shoulders. The interferences that were acting in your financial field are being neutralized. That sensation that money slipped through your fingers, that impression that there was always a little lacking no matter how much you earned, that inexplicable difficulty in accumulating resources, all of this was related to interferences that are now being completely annulled. The distortions that affected your relationships are being corrected. The frequent misunderstandings, the mistaken interpretations, the disproportionate reactions, all of this was the result of subtle interferences that created static in the communication and connection between you and the important people in your life. These interferences are being eliminated, allowing love and understanding to flow without obstructions. The interferences that blocked your health and vitality are being deactivated. That persistent fatigue that had no medical explanation, those discomforts that mysteriously appeared and disappeared, that difficulty in maintaining healthy habits were physical manifestations of spiritual blockages that are now being completely neutralized. Heaven has decreed, and there is no power on earth or beneath it that can contradict this decree. No hidden force will have more influence over your destiny. This celestial declaration is being implemented with absolute authority in every dimension of your existence. It's like a divine force field that automatically repels any attempt at external interference in your life. You will begin to notice clear signs of this annulment in the coming days. Decisions that previously seemed confusing will become crystal clear. Paths that previously seemed foggy will show themselves perfectly illuminated. Objectives that previously seemed distant will now reveal themselves within reach of your fingers. This clarity is not coincidence. It is the direct result of the cancellation of interferences. This divine annulment is permanent and irreversible. It is not a temporary truce, not a momentary relief. It is a complete reconfiguration of your spiritual environment, establishing a new pattern of functioning where interferences no longer find access points. It's like replacing a vulnerable lock with an impenetrable security system. What was open to invasion is now completely protected. What will surprise you most is the speed with which your reality will begin to change after the annulment of these interferences. Doors that seemed eternally closed will open effortlessly. People who seemed unreachable will contact you spontaneously. Resources that seemed scarce will begin to multiply inexplicably. It's as if an invisible dam had been removed, allowing the natural flow of abundance to finally reach you without impediments. The annulment of these interferences not only removes the negative, but activates the positive that was latent in your life. Potentials that were dormant will be awakened. Talents that were suppressed will manifest with full force. Divine connections that were programmed for your destiny, but were constantly sabotaged, will now establish themselves with firmness and purpose. Heaven has not only decreed the end of interferences, but established a new protection around you. A divine shield that prevents new forms of interference from finding space in your life. This protection does not require your constant vigilance. It operates automatically, like a spiritual immune system that identifies and neutralizes any attempt at invasion before you even notice its presence. Chosen one, the time of interference is over. The period of crossed signals, distorted messages, and blocked potentials has come to an end. Heaven has decreed your complete liberation from every force that tried to divert your destiny. From now on, you will experience clarity, fluidity, and accelerated manifestation in all areas of your life. No interference will resist this celestial decree. You are free to advance without resistance toward your divine destiny. A new reality is establishing itself in your life at this exact moment. From now on, you will notice fluidity in everything you do. Doors that previously demanded immense effort to open will now turn without resistance at your softest touch. Paths that seemed tortuous now align before your steps like red carpets extended for your passage. Answers that took time to arrive now manifest almost instantly. The weight that pressed on your shoulders is being completely removed. For a long time, you became accustomed to fighting for every inch of progress. Striving beyond the limit became your normality. You learned to accept that each achievement would require sweat, tears, and exhaustion. This was the old reality, a paradigm of resistance that shaped your perception and your expectations. But now, a new paradigm is being established, the paradigm of divine flow. In this new reality, excessive effort gives way to divine ease. Constant tension is replaced by natural movement toward your purpose. It's like the difference between swimming against the current and being carried by it. The same distance that previously required all your effort is now traveled with grace and without wear. This transition is not a promise for the distant future. It is a transformation that is happening now, reorganizing the spiritual fabric around you. You will feel this change as a sudden sensation of lightness, a renewed mental clarity, a vital energy that appears seemingly from nowhere. These are the first signs that resistance has been removed and divine flow established. Observe how projects that were stagnant begin to advance on their own. Businesses that required Herculean efforts for small results now produce abundant fruits with minimal interventions on your part. Relationships that were constant battlefields now flow with natural harmony. These are not coincidences. They are tangible manifestations of resistance being removed from your life. The fluidity you will experience does not mean absence of challenges. It means absence of unnecessary resistance. The obstacles that appear will be only opportunities for growth, no longer insurmountable barriers. They will serve as stepping stones in a river, not as walls that block your path. You will surpass them with wisdom and ease, almost without noticing they were there. Divine alignment is establishing itself in every area of your life. It's as if the entire universe were being recalibrated to work in your favor. Synchronicities will multiply. You will be in the right place, at the right time, with the right people, with such constant frequency that it will seem orchestrated. Because indeed it is. Divine flow is not random. It is precisely coordinated for your greatest good. The weight is being removed, not just metaphorically, but in a literal and perceptible way. That constant sensation of carrying the world on your shoulders, that physical tension that seemed never to leave your body, that mental fatigue that was your daily companion, all of this is being dissipated by the power of divine grace. You will feel this transformation as a physical and emotional lightness that makes each movement more graceful, each breath deeper. Financial fluidity will be one of the most notable manifestations of this new reality. Money will begin to flow to you through channels you didn't even know existed. Prosperity opportunities will naturally arise in your path without you having to hunt them exhaustively. The resistance that existed between you and material abundance is being completely dissolved, establishing a continuous and growing flow of resources. Your relationships will experience a new quality of connection. Communication that was previously strained now flows with naturalness and precision. Misunderstandings will give way to intuitive understanding. Interpersonal resistance that generated constant conflicts will be replaced by a harmony that requires no effort to maintain. It's as if suddenly everyone were tuned to the same frequency as you. Even your health and vitality will be transformed by this new absence of resistance. Your body will naturally find its ideal balance. Healing processes that seemed stagnant will be accelerated. Vital energy will flow freely through each cell, renewing and vitalizing them without conscious effort on your part. This is the physical manifestation of the removal of spiritual resistance. Your decisions will be made with clarity and conviction, without the paralysis of doubt that previously consumed your time and energy. The right path will present itself with such evidence that choosing it will be as natural as breathing. The mental resistance that transformed each decision into an internal battlefield, will be replaced by an intuitive certainty that will guide your steps. You will experience a new dimension of efficiency in everything you do. Tasks that previously consumed hours will be completed in minutes. Projects that demanded months will be finalized in weeks. This acceleration will not come from increased effort, but from the complete removal of resistance that slowed down each process. It's like the difference between driving with the handbrake pulled and driving with all systems perfectly aligned. Your spiritual life will reach depths and heights that seemed inaccessible before. The connection with the divine, which often required rigorous disciplines to maintain, will now flow naturally like breathing. Your prayers will be answered with surprising speed. Your spiritual intuition will become so sharp that you will receive divine guidance even before formulating the question. Creativity will manifest in you like never before. Brilliant ideas will arise spontaneously. Innovative solutions will appear in your mind without effort. The resistance that blocked your creative flow has been removed, allowing divine expression to flow through you without obstacles or filters that diminish it. Chosen one, this is the new reality that is establishing itself in your life. The era of constant struggle has come to an end. The time of excessive effort for minimal results is over. From now on, you will walk without resistance, experience fluidity in all areas, see doors opening without effort, and paths aligning perfectly before your steps. Accept this new reality. Take ownership of it. Live each day in the expectation of the divine ease that now characterizes your journey. The moment of visible, palpable, and undeniable manifestation has arrived. It is no longer future promise. It is present reality. You will see with your own eyes liberation happening in real time. The barriers are falling before you like the walls of Jericho. You are free to prosper in all dimensions of your existence. For how long have you waited for concrete signs? For how long have you fed your faith with promises of a better future while the present seemed to remain unchanged? This cycle of waiting has come to an end. The time of visible manifestation has begun. You will no longer need faith to believe in what is to come. Your own eyes will witness what God is doing now. This manifestation is not subtle or gradual. It is dramatic and unequivocal. Events so extraordinary will occur in your life that you will have no doubt whatsoever about divine intervention. They will be transformations so radical that not even the most skeptical will be able to attribute them to coincidence or chance. God's hand will be visible in every detail, like a signature impossible to forge. Financially, you will see resources appearing in ways that defy human logic. They will not be just small increases or incremental improvements, but quantum leaps of prosperity. Opportunities will arise as if materialized from nowhere. Doors that you didn't even know existed will open, revealing paths to an abundance that exceeds your most optimistic expectations. In your relationships, you will witness reconciliations that seemed impossible. People who were distant will return to your life with a new attitude. Apparently irresolvable conflicts will find harmonious solutions without effort. The transformation will be so evident that the people involved themselves will recognize the divine intervention that reconfigured the relational dynamic. Your health will experience visible restoration. Conditions that doctors considered permanent will show signs of inexplicable improvement. Vitality that seemed lost forever will return in revitalizing waves. Your body will respond to this spiritual release with a physical renewal that will surprise everyone who has followed your health journey. This visible manifestation will also affect your mind and emotions. The mental clarity you will experience will be like leaving a dark and dusty room for an open landscape under the midday sun. Confused thoughts will give way to crystalline understanding. Turbulent emotions will be replaced by a deep peace that does not depend on external circumstances. Most extraordinary is that these manifestations will not be isolated events, but a cascade of interconnected miracles. One blessing will lead to another, which in turn will open the way for a third, in a domino effect of prosperity that self-amplifies. You will be at the center of a storm of blessings, witnessing with your own eyes how one transformation naturally leads to the next. This visible manifestation is not just for your personal satisfaction, it is a testimony to everyone around you. People who doubted spiritual reality will be confronted with irrefutable evidence through your transformation. Your process will become living proof that the impossible can become possible, that miracles are not confined to ancient times but occur here and now. The spiritual barriers that prevented your vision are being removed like scales from your eyes. You will see not only the physical manifestations, but also the spiritual realities that produce them. It will be like developing a new sense, an expanded perception that allows you to see the currents of blessings flowing in your direction, the channels of provision opening, the divine forces working incessantly in your favor. This new spiritual vision will enable you to consciously cooperate with the divine process. You will not be just a passive recipient of blessings, but an active collaborator in their manifestation. By seeing clearly what God is doing, you will intuitively know how to align your actions, words, and decisions to maximize the divine flow in your life. Freedom to prosper is not just the removal of external obstacles, but also the release of internal limitations. As you witness with your own eyes what God is doing, the last chains of doubt, fear, and insecurity that imprisoned your potential will be completely undone. You will feel free not just circumstantially, but essentially, free to be who you were created to be. This freedom to prosper extends to all dimensions of your existence. Prosperity is not just financial, but holistic, encompassing relationships, health, purpose, creativity, impact, and legacy. You will see with your own eyes how each of these areas flourishes simultaneously, creating a life of fullness that transcends any limited definition of success. Chosen one, we have reached the end of this journey of revelation, but we are only at the beginning of your manifestation. What you heard today were not just words, they were spiritual keys that unlocked blessing portals in your life. The spiritual barriers that for so long limited your prosperity are now completely crumbled before your eyes. At this exact moment, as these words resonate in your spirit, profound transformations are occurring in dimensions that your physical eyes cannot see, but that your soul can feel. The invisible walls have fallen. What was hidden has been exposed and neutralized. What was struggle has transformed into glorious testimony. The interferences have been completely annulled. Resistance has been removed from your path. And now you are seeing with your own eyes what God is doing. This is not a common message. It is a prophetic declaration that marks the beginning of a new era in your life. From this moment on, you will walk in a level of spiritual freedom, mental clarity, and accelerated manifestation that will transform every aspect of your existence. Abundance is no longer a distant promise. It is your present reality. Take with you the certainty that barriers can no longer hold back what God has decreed for your life. Carry in your heart the unshakable conviction that divine flow now runs without obstacles in your direction. Live each day in expectation of visible, tangible, and extraordinary manifestations that will confirm the transformation that was sealed in this divine encounter. If this message touched your heart and awakened your faith, show your support. Subscribe to this channel to continue receiving words of life that will nourish your spiritual journey. Leave your like as an act of agreement with the truths that were declared about your life today. Your interaction strengthens us to continue bringing these revelations to more people who, like you, were ready to see spiritual barriers crumble before their eyes. Chosen one, move forward with unshakable confidence. What was declared here is already in motion. The barriers have fallen, freedom has been established, manifestation has begun. Your life will never be the same, and this is just the beginning.